Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing today? Welcome. Just seeing what my controls are doing here. All right. Happy Wednesday, December 24th, 2025. I'm really glad to be here with you all today. I love Insight Timer. I love our community and very grateful. Let me know if there's a problem with the connectivity. The Wi-Fi looks a little low. Welcome Nancy and Ree. I'm Natalie, spiritual life coach, Reiki master teacher. I am living in Mexico, where Christmas is very much celebrated, as it is the biggest Catholic country in the world, I believe. So lots of festivities around. There is that energy of Christmas in the air, or just like a higher vibrational energy feeling. Thank you, Nancy. And I wanted to create this live session today to serve those in the community who want connection, number one, who want a space to come, and a space where there's not a pressure to show up a certain way. I mean, there's never that expectation, and with Christmas, there can definitely be lots of mixed feelings and emotions for some people. So as you're joining in, I invite you to share an emoji in the chat of your current state, your current mood, your current energy, or if you want to share a word or few words of how you're arriving into the live session today. This is just a sanctuary space in the day. And we're going to talk a bit about, if there's a dynamic going on where you feel pressure or feel maybe even sad or depressed or grieving or lonely or confused about how you feel, or if there's expectations. So all of those yummy dynamics. And just that this is a sanctuary space for you. There's a lot of expectation depending on your background or your dynamics about how you're supposed to feel, who you're supposed to be, what the day is meant to mean. So we're not going to be forcing or fixing or needing to solve. We're just going to be here today to stay connected to ourselves. Maybe there might be disappointment or letdown. So you are all welcome as you are and where you are. Welcome, Jenny from Australia. It must be very late in the day there for you. So if you are new to me, please give me a follow here in Insight Timer. The card will pop up. I am going live again tomorrow as well, and tomorrow will be more of a traditional holiday live stream because I'm doing a giveaway as a holiday gift to the community. There will be a giveaway for one lucky person to receive a gifted session with me. And if you don't know, I'm a spiritual life coach and Reiki master teacher. So I'm going to try and pull up the card where you can just click and join tomorrow's live stream. Hi J.E., welcome, welcome. There we go. So I'll also be drawing cards. Yeah. Okay. And then at the end of the session, I'll be doing a giveaway. So you can win a session of spiritual life coaching, a Reiki and ancestral clearing session, or a gifted tarot oracle card reading. So if you'd like to come and be considered, join, stay till the end. Also join my group Natalie's Healing Circle here in Insight Timer. That's the only quote requirement. And it'd be nice if, participants follow me if you don't already, but it's not required. But in order to communicate about the winner, I'll be doing that in Natalie's Healing Circle, my group here on Insight Timer. So, let's see. I do feel like, I don't know, I wasn't planning on it, but I'm feeling an energy to possibly draw some cards today. So yes, J.E., it's the same time tomorrow. So Eastern time will start at 1 p.m. All of my live streams are available on my YouTube channel as replays, and also double live streaming there as well. So right now, this exact same stream is playing over there, if that's preferable, whatever you choose. Welcome, Elena. Glad to have you. Welcome, welcome. So I'd like to hear from you all as to how this holiday feels for you. If it's not all sunshine and rainbows and Santas and Rudolphs. Yeah. Is there anybody here who doesn't feel, happy, joyous, and free? Angie. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience. And this is exactly why I created this live stream, to have a safe place, a non-judgmental place for people to come just to be together. Like-minded folks like ourselves that are spiritual in nature. I provide a loving, safe space for us to explore a bit about if you're alone and you don't want to be, or if you are alone and you choose to be, but it still feels maybe not exactly the way you want it to feel. I'll get really honest with you all in my own personal experience. This time of year has never felt like light and love due to my family dynamics. So when I lived in the U.S. and had the obligation or felt the obligation to be with family in the holidays, the main emotional signature that I would have is stress and anxiety, and heaviness going into those holiday gatherings, which made sense. And at the time, this was a long time ago now, but at the time I had a silent judgment of myself that I shouldn't feel this way, but that wasn't even conscious at the time. I just felt stressed and anxious. And I just felt obligated. My preference would be to not participate, but because of where I was and just who I was at the time, I didn't feel it was an option for me to decline. I felt like that would be too much trouble and cause too much problems, so I just endured it. And I can even tune into that energy, like remembering back then how it felt. And I just really, if anyone has any sorts of those experiences, or Jenny, I'm sorry about the loss of your mom this year. So some of you may be having a first holiday without a loved one. I just really want to extend compassion and loving to all of you. And to, even that version of myself I'm describing. I felt like I was flawed or defective, or what's wrong with me that I'm feeling this way. And that's what I knew at the time, and it is what it is. And even now, if any of you share those sorts of feelings or memories, we can heal ourselves by even imagining, even doing a meditation or a visualization of going back to those earlier versions and those early holidays, and sending loving and compassion. And, in my case, since I'm a Reiki master, I can send Reiki to myself back then. So the pressure can be like a pressure to feel differently or to act differently. And, even if I go further back, I was an alcoholic and a drug addict, so the holidays were always a disaster. I just really want to give a voice for that, for any of you who may be feeling anything like that. So, this is the work I do in my spiritual life coaching. Is not so, it might come up around Christmas, but just the dynamic of doing things out of fear, obligation, or guilt, judging ourselves and making ourselves wrong for how we feel, not having boundaries and showing up anyway, and doing things out of integrity to please others, people pleasing. So this is all the deep work that I do with my life coaching clients. So if any of that resonates and you want support, don't hesitate to reach out and send me a private message. Hi Beth, welcome. Ooh, wonderful. 3 solstice events. Yeah, and I think being invited last minute, that would sting for anybody too. So good for you for being in integrity, for being in alignment with your values, celebrating your own way. Hi Sister Sunshine. Yeah, so what I hear in that is like misalignment. Yeah, for sure. So let's pause and take a breath here. And just feel in your body. And just be the loving witness and observer of whatever's here. If it's numbness, if it's grief, if it's maybe you're feeling joy. Maybe you're just here because you're having a wonderful day and you're on Insight Timer, and that's great too. So we also want to look at, and I love what Beth said about having their own rituals and their own celebrations. So if this holiday is heavy for you, this is part of, your invitation is, if you feel to. Some of you might feel like it's another day and I'm great and I'm not going to do anything. But if there is some sort of call to symbolize the days for whatever reason, what can you do to make it sacred for yourself? What can you do to celebrate yourself and hold space for yourself? Give yourself the things that you wish you were receiving from others. These are all wonderful questions to ask. Because the thing is, and I imagine it's like this everywhere in the world. I know it's in the US, but like the highest number of suicides and probably murders and accidents and all of that stuff happens this time of year. I think the reason is because there's so much past and history in these times of year, or this time of the year. And it's like a collective pain body. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. And I feel that there's a collective pain body that activates all of this stuff. So, we're not victims to any of this. If you're here, you're definitely, have the capacity to choose your experience and choose how you relate, and choose how you work with all of this. So, where do you feel pressure to feel differently today? I'd like to hear from you. Is there any dynamics in your life where you do feel that pressure? If you tune into your body, do you feel a heaviness, or do you feel, like I said, maybe a numbness? And I wonder what it would look like and how it would feel to just release expectation, to come into the present moment just a little bit more. Relax and release, as Michael Singer would say. And just really hold yourself with tenderness. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to force yourself into toxic positivity. And I invite you again, like if there's any judgment, just to release any judgment about how you're showing up or not showing up. I want to pull Michael Singer card. I want to see what he has to say about all of this. And as I tune into my body and my intuition, I can feel like a constriction, a heaviness. If there would be, it's like kind of a shadow energy. And it's okay. It's not wrong. We don't have to fix this day. We don't have to fix ourselves to be okay. We can just come into presence, release the stories. So this card says, beyond is infinite in all directions. Beyond is infinite in all directions. So this is a call to really come into presence, but then also zoom out and get perspective. If you are contracted, constricted, seeing things a certain way, judging others, judging yourself, pressure, all that stuff, it's okay, of course. We don't want to gaslight ourselves. And this card is saying, like, let's zoom out. Let's get some perspective here as a way to ground ourselves into what's happening. The beyond is infinite in all directions. So tuning into that. Michael Singer is very good about orienting into the reality of what's actually happening. He's like, we're spinning around, we're spinning on a planet, on a speck of dust in the middle of nowhere around an average star. The rings of Saturn are there, the moon, there's shadow and light on the moon, like that's actually reality. Oh, wonderful, Nancy. So glad that you're doing so much better this year. Good for you, Sister Sunshine, to pause and to check in with yourself before you make a choice, instead of just being like, oh, okay, I'll do the thing. I think that's really powerful to notice and witness. And that takes presence, and that takes awareness and growth. Not just like collapsing into saying yes immediately. So if it's helpful, you can put a hand on your heart and just breathe and be and orient into reality, You're here wherever you are, like I'm here in this room. My physical body's in a chair. There's light coming from a window behind me. One thing Michael Singer talks about is like the miracle of the moment. Like there's a star that we orbit around that's 93 million miles away, and yet we can feel the warmth of it from here. So it's like, wow, feel that warmth. If you have the sun near you, or the absence of the sun, wow, I feel cold because I'm not feeling the warmth of the sun right now. This is what it feels like. So you can just orient back into now, just very tenderly and softly. You can let any expectations, just like you're dropping your heavy winter coat at the coat check, and you're feeling the relief of not having the burden. I hear you on that, sister. Birthday next week. So they are planning your birthday. That's interesting. Is that how it usually goes? Oh yeah, Beth, totally. And happy birthday to both of you Capricorns. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, like, my birthday's in June, so I had the perfect birthday, summer, no school, in exactly 6 months from like Christmas presents, birthday presents. But I always did feel sorry for people with a birthday today or whatever, or next week, where, yeah, it's just a totally different energy, isn't it? So you're allowed to meet today as you are. You're allowed to meet your birthday if it's soon as it is. You're allowed to show up however you are. So I wonder what small act of self-care, one small act of way that you can show up for yourself today. It might be taking a nap. It might be binging on the show. It might be taking a walk. It might be going to the event you were invited to. It might be going anyway. I was invited to something tomorrow and I was like, nah, I'm not going. And then like the third person was like, are you going? And I was like, okay. Let me just slow down and tune into what's really going on here. You know, sometimes it's good to force ourselves, or not force, but accompany ourselves outside of our comfort zone, right? and do things that stretch us. So I am doing something that stretches me a little tomorrow by going to a holiday event that I don't want to go to. There's no right or wrong here. I don't have to go. I know I will see people I like and enjoy, and that will be nice. I'm sure I'll have judgments. I'm sure I'll have other energies, as that is life. So what happens when you stop arguing with reality or arguing with how it should be or has to be or how you wished it would be? You are allowed to meet today, you are allowed to meet tomorrow just as you are. Yeah, I'm looking at the positives. So I want you to think about what changes when you just drop all of these dynamics that we're talking about. What opens up within you in your physical body and your nervous system? What do you notice shift when you're allowed to meet the day as you are? When you stop arguing with how it should be or how you wished it would be and just dropped into your body? That's really powerful to notice, Sister Sunshine. When you give yourself a voice, when you use your voice, I'm taking time for myself. I'm taking space. This is what I'm doing. There's less stress. That's like definite feedback. That is direct feedback for you. And for some of you dealing with grief or loss, there might be those emotions. There might be longing. There might be sadness, and it's all okay. So I'm going to draw one Light Seers card. Well, and I haven't shuffled from the other day, and that card is still here, and I feel like this definitely is a card for you all whose message this is resonating with, this Hermit. Tune into your own inner light if you are alone. And some of you are alone and you don't want to be, or maybe you are alone and you want to be, but you still have energy around it. How can you be your own guiding light? Knight of Wands. How can you be your own Knight of Wands? How can you do something that feels fun? Is there something creative you can do? Maybe it's music, listening, or if you have your own drum, dancing. Maybe it's an art project or writing. Or maybe this is just your inner stance. But this Knight of Wands is encouraging you to tune into that inner fire, that inner creativity. I'm feeling energy discharging. There's been a lot of energy as this session has gone on. And for those of you that are here today who have not received before a gifted session with me, I'd like to extend the invitation for you, if you feel called to connect one-on-one, to send me a private message. I will gift you a powerful spiritual life coaching session with me where we can dive into anything that's come up for you right now. This is also a wonderful time to look back at 2025 and look at what you're letting go of and leaving behind, or also what you're looking forward to into creating into this next year. So I've got a couple spaces for those. If you feel called to reach out, send me a message here. Or you can also find me on my website, social media. All those links are here in my profile and Insight Timer. And you can also give a donation if that feels in alignment with you. I'll pull that up. And I will see you all in 24 hours, and we're going to be doing a more, I want to say traditional sort of holiday live stream. We'll be taking an energy reading with cards, deeper, and we'll be doing, like I said, the holiday giveaway where you can receive a gifted session with me. And you can choose that. I'm offering a gifted visioning coaching session, which is, if you win the giveaway, you can do. But I'm also just offering that. And then I will also gift to the winner of the giveaway a Reiki and ancestral clearing session with me. These are very powerful, deep sessions. That's like my signature energy healing session. That's $149. And you could also receive a full hour-long tarot oracle card session. So feel free to join in 23 and a half hours. So I invite you all just to, if you care to, leave an emoji in the chat of how you're feeling now, as we've kind of just allowed space to be, to explore this. Yeah, I mean, this can just be a very mixed time, Nancy. That's great that you tried to cheer them up. That's awesome, J.E. And I think more and more people are opting out of Christmas, and I think that's great, because so many people wish they could, and admire people that do and can, and it normalizes, not everybody wants to participate, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, awesome, Angie. Wonderful. You can drum. Awesome, Sister Sunshine. Yeah, I definitely pat you on the back, and anyone else who is, I talk about this often in my coaching of being in a fog. A fog is fear, obligation, or guilt. So for those of you who are not giving into the Christmas fog, I also salute you. And if you do feel obligated and you still go and you don't want to be there, that's fine too. You get to meet yourself where you are. And so then how can you make the best of it? So have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are in the world. I will see you on Christmas Day for the holiday live stream, and sending you lots of love and peace. Namaste.